So we'll learn today Siman Shin Kaf, squeezing on Shabbat. Squeezing on Shabbat. And like we learned in Borer, before we went into the halachot, we tried to define what is the malacha of squeezing on Shabbat. Well, take a lemon. Is there a problem with lemon? Yes, maybe no. We'll see. If we ask a question, obviously there's a question about it. And as you can guess, the answer will probably be machloket. Right, that's if there's an option for two opinions, you'll probably have two opinions. Right? That's the Ritva. Ritva on Masechet Eruvin says that when Moshe Rabbeinu got halacha Moshe Sinai, so for every halacha, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him 49 reasons to say it's permitted, and 49 reasons to say it's forbidden. 49 reasons to say it's tameh. Good evening. That's the guys that bring water. We have something else. Okay. 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 So 49 reasons to say it's forbidden, permitted, tameh, tahor, and Chazal shows so when we have arguments, already the two opinions we have, both of them came from Sinai. So and the question is how do we paskin? So that's what we'll do today. And Be'ezrat Hashem, next week we'll probably move already to the halachot of Purim. Okay, so we're just now starting Siman Shin Kaf about squeezing on Shabbat. And the definition of the malacha, what could be, do you think, the definition of the malacha? What could be the definition of the malacha of sochet? What are we doing here on sochet? I'm bringing something out, I'm extracting, okay? I'm bringing something out of something. I'm creating, okay? Creating. As we said, all of the malachot of Shabbat will ask, what am I creating here? If there's no creation, we will ask, why is it a malacha? And if there's a malacha, is it asur mideoraita or midirabanan? B'nikro Torah law. So what are we creating with sochet? The juice, okay? I'm taking something which is or food or non-edible. I'm creating here something new, which is liquid juice. What is it? A sponge of water. Okay, so if I have, let's say,
Lamatet Malachos based on whatever the Mishkan was used to do the Mishkan.
Mishkan, right? So everything comes from the Mishkan.
Everything was building.
Everything was creating, not been creating. Okay, so everything is creating, and sochet actually comes from a malacha called dash. And dash is breaking the seeds of the wheat from the grain, and all the peels it has on it, and breaking it, and a bit starting the separation between the outside the peel and the inner side, which is creating something which is raw, like something which is just a piece of vegetable, and something which is now becomes a seed. We mentioned Pesach a few minutes ago. I asked once Rav Dov Lior, Shibadei L'chaim Arukim, may have long life, about kitniot on Pesach. Okay, so we Ashkenazim, we don't eat legumes on Pesach. I asked him about green beans. Okay, what does he say on green beans? Kitniot or not kitniot? Okay, so what do you think he answered me? Okay. So he said to me, I eat green beans on Pesach. He said, I even make sure to eat green beans on Pesach so people won't think, or my family won't think it's kitniot. Obviously, it's a machloket. Obviously, there's some people who will not eat green beans on Pesach because the bean itself is kitniot. Rav Dov Lior says when it's together with the peel, okay, when you buy green beans in the shop, what are you buying? A vegetable. When you start peeling now the green beans, it would be nuts, right? Who does it? You pay quite an expensive price for the green beans. If you peel only the inside, no. So the green beans is a vegetable because we also eat the seed pods. Only when it's separated, only then it's called kitniot. It's something new. We created something new here. It's not green beans. It's whatever it's called, brown beans or Heinz, whatever. Yeah, one of it. How does the Southern call what the food that the Southern eat on barbecues with beans? No, not grits. Not grits. Chili, exactly, chili. Yeah. So we created something new here. All you New Yorkers here. What's okay. Okay. So Dash is creating something new. Okay, we're creating something new by taking apart the peels and the inner. And the same with Sochet, we're creating something new. And now we'll go over the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Shin Kaf 320. We'll go over it and see what Schita is. Says the Shulchan Aruch, based on the Rishonim, that olives and grapes, someone who crushes them up on Shabbat and squeezes the liquids out, his over is Sumi Deoraita. That's forbidden from Torah law. Right? Olives and grapes. Only with those two kinds, according to most poskim, it's forbidden by Torah law. Okay, the rest of the things might be Drabanan. Why only these two things? Very important, right? We use both of the liquids that come out for the Mishkan or the Mikdash, to stoke Shivat Aminim, right? But also Shivat, we week's parasha Truma. What do we take? Shemen Lamaor. One of the things they bring is oil, olive oil, and wine is used with korbanot. Both of those things have a special bracha. For wine, we say Borei Pri Hagafen, and on olive oil, although it's already liquid, sometimes you might say ha'etz. Not always, but sometimes you might say ha'etz. If it's made in a special way, as you eat it, you might say ha'etz on olive oil. Yeah, it's a chidush because you don't say ha'etz on beer, okay, although it's made out of grain, or you don't say mezonot on beer. I think we discussed that in the past. So most of the grapes, most of the olives, they are supposed to be crushed and made into olive oil and wine. Yeah, especially those. Have you ever tasted grapes for wine? Grapes that are grown for wine? Have you ever tasted them? No? You have to go out to the fields and so you don't find them in the shops. You see this, so they have seeds. First, they have seeds in them. Second, the peel is quite thick. So they aren't so, they're quite sweet, but they aren't so tasty to eat. But those grapes, no one buys them in the shop. Who buys them? No one. They're sold and they're grown just for the purpose of making wine. Since these two kinds of trees, they are planted to grow or to make from them liquids, that's Misumi Deoraita. Not only if you squeeze them on Shabbat, let's say it came out by itself on Shabbat, okay, so it's asur. You can't use it on Shabbat. You can use it on Sunday. Let's say I had a few grapes and the liquids came out on Shabbat. Chazal said you can't drink this liquid on Shabbat because if you squeeze it, it's asur midoraita. If it comes on Shabbat, so it's rabbinical. What about the rest of the fruit? And that starts to become more relevant for us because we usually don't squeeze olives and we don't squeeze grapes, right? And if we do it, so as kids, so our parents will tell us, stop playing with your food, right? And we'll say, well, you have to eat your games. No, that's anyway, so about the rest of the things, the Shulchan Aruch here brings three kinds of fruit. The first kind of fruit is fruit that all of them you squeeze, olives and grapes. The second kind of fruit, he mentions here tutim and rimonim. What's tutim exactly? That's a question. Today we use the word tutim for strawberries. I don't think it's meaning strawberries. He's referring to berries, some kind of berries that they used to squeeze them and make from some kind of tut sadeh. Yeah, tut sadeh. And what we call tut etz is the name of tut etz. Tutim, yeah. When we say tutim, we refer to tut sadeh. The berry is a tut etz. I forgot the name of the tree. But typically when he came in, he said tutim, they made some kind of berries. And then they used to eat some of them, and also used to squeeze some of them. And the same with pomegranates, used to eat some of them and squeeze some of them. So that midrabanan, you can't squeeze them on Shabbat. You don't squeeze them on Shabbat. Okay, you don't squeeze them on Shabbat. And if the liquid came out by itself, So it depends here. I won't go into it, just not to go into too many details. A third category, which the Shulchan Aruch mentions, and there's a question if there's such a category today, is fruits that no one squeezes them, or most people don't squeeze them, and you just eat them. And since you never squeeze such a thing, to squeeze it and to make from it liquids, you can do it on Shabbat because you aren't really creating here anything. Who drinks cucumber juice? No one. Who drinks lettuce juice? Lettuce, yeah? So who drinks lemon juice? Oh, 1 second. Lemons, we'll get to a question very, very soon. Okay, we'll get. But no one squeezes. Who squeezes carrots? You eat carrots. You cook carrots. You have tzimas. So therefore, you can squeeze them on Shabbat. Okay, you can squeeze them on Shabbat.
Yeah, because you can't squeeze.
You can. Oh, so here now comes the Shulchan Aruch. The Rama mentions.
People do drink.
Exactly. So that. And here, ובמקום שנהגו לשחוט איזה פירות, לשתות מימיו מחמת צמא או תענוג, I'll explain it in a moment, דינו כתותים ורימונים. In places where they do squeeze different kinds of fruit, and they drink it not as a medical, as a health thing, they drink it because they're thirsty or for pleasure. So that's like strawberry or berries and pomegranates that you can't squeeze it on Shabbat midrabanan. Now, I think most fruit and vegetable today people do squeeze them to drink for pleasure. Carrots, for example, you go to a shop, you pay 10 shekels for squeeze. Yeah, they grind it and squeeze it. Yeah, and then they squeeze it. And then they have to squeeze it. Yeah, so you can even get this celery juice, and people drink it. It started, I think, as a health thing, but then people enjoy it and they like it, and they have different beet juice. It's people say it's quite nice. So all those things, you grind it and then squeeze it out. You have to get the juice out. The same with olives. How do you get oil out? You grind the olives and then squeeze it. So most. Why? First, it's not important. It's not Shivat Haminim. It's because it's of the importance of the juice, and it's not just also dates. You can get silan, honey, out of the silan is date honey. It's not because of Shivat Haminim. It's because of the importance of the juice that comes out. And most of the fruit that's grown, most of the vines that are grown, the grape vines, are grown for wine. While rimon, you eat it. Well, it was rimon in salads. Okay, so today I think most vegetables or fruit and vegetables you can't come and squeeze them. You cannot squeeze them, and the reason is because people in the normal day will squeeze them, and therefore when you squeeze them, you're creating something new. You're creating a juice. You're creating a drink. And therefore, you cannot do it on Shabbat. Says the Rama, the problem is only with squeezing. Are you allowed to eat on Shabbat? Can you choose your food on Shabbat? You're grinding. How can you choose your food on Shabbat? Chew your food on Shabbat. So obviously, there's no problem in eating, right? There's no problem in eating. We mentioned it a few times. On Shabbat, you're allowed to eat. We can do a kiddush. Yeah? You can do a kiddush on Shabbat. It's fine. Therefore, says the Shulchan Aruch, the Rama, that you can take a pomegranate and suck it in your mouth on Shabbat, because that's called eating. You can eat it on Shabbat. Yeah. Seeds. After you squeeze it, you can spit it out. With grapes, there are some people poskim a machmir with grapes because people make it as a wine, and they say if you hold it out of your mouth and suck it, so it's like maybe more like squeezing. If you put it in your mouth and suck it, that's for sure permitted. Misvara, okay, from my svara, but don't posek like that. Okay, yeah, there might be a difference. We won't go into it. Okay, so that we discussed the 3 types of fruit and vegetables. And we said today mainly we have only 2 kinds, grapes and olives. as one kind, and all the rest of the things which are asur midirabanan. And now we're going to something which is very, very common. We said that the definition of sochet, okay, of squeezing, is creating something new. You're creating something new. What are you creating? Creating liquids, creating juice. What happens when I'm not creating anything new? And that's where we really meet it a lot on Shabbat. When I'm not creating, or at least it doesn't seem as if I'm creating something new. One option can be, I'm taking lemon. Lemon is a food, right? I squeeze it on fish. Fish is a food. Can you notice the drops of lemon? After a few seconds, a few moments, it's absorbed inside the fish. I put it on salad, okay? I'm taking a lemon and moving food to food. I'm not creating any liquid here. Let's read the Shulchan Aruch. He's talking even about taking grapes, but it refers to everything. מותר לסחוט אשכול ענבים מתוך קדירה שיש בה תבשיל כדי לתקן האוכל. You can take grapes and squeeze the grapes inside the pot in order to give flavor to the food inside the pot. דהבה למשקה בא לאוכל וכאוכל דמי. It's like liquid coming into the food, and it's considered like food. Okay, so I'm not creating any liquid. It will be a liquid for just a moment, but my intention and my also outcome in the end, I'm not creating any kind of liquid. I'm doing only food. But it says that if there's no food inside it, so you can't do it. I can't take, or lemon, we'll get to it in a moment. I cannot take lemon, squeeze it into a cup, and then use this cup to other things too. Okay, so that I can't. Yeah. We'll get to that in a moment.
Put it straight on food.
Yeah. What is that? People drink lemon juice, right? So I can put it straight on the food. I can't do it into an empty bowl. Okay, and that's about creating food. There's the Shulchan Aruch, and that brings a big discussion in the Achronim. According to the Sfaradim, mutar nischot limonish. What's limonish? Lemonade. Can you make lemonade on Shabbat? Says the Shulchan Aruch, you can make lemonade. Okay, you can make lemonade. You can make lemonade on Shabbat. Why can you make lemonade on Shabbat? According to the Shulchan Aruch, the Ashkenazim very soon will say you can't do it. So he says, I want to read here the Mishnah, but we'll just translate it into English, because usually, at least in those times, people never drank lemon juice as lemon juice. Even today, people don't drink lemon juice as is. It's too strong, right? It's too acidic. So people don't drink it for pleasure or because they're thirsty. So you aren't creating here any drink. You're not taking food and creating a drink. So that's why according to Shulchan Aruch, you can do it. He wants to squeeze the lemon juice and then pour it on the salad. So he knows that I'll squeeze all the lemons in the morning and before I go to Shachrit, and after 2 hours I'll put it on the salad. And says the Shulchan Aruch, and here I want to read just a tiny bit of him. Ulefize, according to this logic, בזמן הזה, in our days, שידוע שממלאים חביות למאות, it's known that they fill up barrels, hundreds of barrels of lemon juice. You go to Rami Levi, you go to any other shop, you'll see tens of bottles of squeezed lemon juice, right? So it's known that people squeeze it, and why do they do it? To drink it. For health reasons, and mix up sugar with it, with punch, with vodka. People today squeeze lemon in order to drink it as for pleasure, right? That's sometimes when I'm bored of having water. It's too boring when you have a lot of water, but you don't want to have something which is has sugar or even other kinds of things inside. So you take a bit of lemon, squeeze it in the water, and it gives a very refreshing feeling, right? So you're creating here something new. So the Shulchan Aruch, the Mishnah Berurah, tzarich iyun gadol. It really needs a big checking it. If you can squeeze it on Shabbat, even into juice, you can't do it on Shabbat, according to Shulchan Aruch. And he says, however, if you do want to squeeze lemon on Shabbat, okay, so what do you do? 2 options, or straight into the salad, one option, or squeeze it on sugar. First, squeeze it on sugar. And then you aren't creating here any new drink. It's just sugar with lemon flavor. And then that mixed with water. So that's what the Mishnah Berurah says about squeezing lemons. Okay, another halacha, which comes from the definition of what's the malacha of squeezing. Let's ask you a question. I made homemade pickles, or just I bought pickles, one of the two. And I open the pickle, and I see there's a lot of water inside, and I want to squeeze the pickle so it will be more dry and you have more of a crunchy feeling. I have this triangle of Yerushalmi kugel, right? Yerushalmi kugel, and for some reason, it's a halacha Moshe Sinai. If you eat Yerushalmi kugel, what you have to have next to it? Pickles. Yeah, you can't have, I'm not sure why, but that's what people say. But you want the pickle to be dry. You don't want the pickle to be wet, because then the liquids will go into the Yerushalmi kugel and the whole feeling of eating them together will go away. Can you take the pickle and squeeze it on Shabbat? What do you think? Why? Yes, you squeeze it on Shabbat. Okay, great. Okay, Danny brings to the Shulchan Aruch. You can squeeze pickled, okay, or cooked food. It depends. If you want the juice out of it, okay, a pickled, I cooked borscht, okay, and I want to get a bit more flavor from the beets, right? So I'm squeezing the beet to get out the liquid to drink it. It'll be asur, okay, forbidden. But if the whole point of squeezing is not to take the water, the liquids, is to fix up or make the pickles themselves better, that's fine. And I'm not creating here anything new. Okay, again, the definition of sochet is creating something new. I'm not creating anything here. I'm not creating not the water, I'm not creating the pickles. The pickles are pickles, the water is useless. So that's fine. Okay, I can do it. Okay. Now we're going to a few halachot, which are similar to sochet. Okay, similar to sochet. One of them, I think, is not relevant for Ma'ale Edomim, but in other places in the country, it is relevant. Ice or snow. Can you break ice or snow on Shabbat? I'm not sure when the last time that ever snowed in Ma'ale Edomim. For sure not in Mitzpeh Nevo, maybe up next to the policeman once in a blue moon, maybe that snows, probably when there's a few trucks come from Jerusalem and bring the snow in the nighttime. It snowed in Ma'ale Edomim, right? Does it snow in Ma'ale Edomim? No, not too often. Can you break ice for the end? Okay.
It's just dusting.
Can you break ice on Shabbat? Hey, can you break ice on Shabbat? Hey, break ice on Shabbat. Hey, can you squeeze it on Shabbat? Can you crush ice on Shabbat?
You're not really creating
You aren't creating anything. Okay. So let's say
I think he needs to eat it for a drink.
okay, so
you don't eat the ice.
so yeah,
Yellow, I know.
yellow ice. What?
Yellow snow. Don't eat yellow snow.
Don't eat
Okay. Okay.
You know, watch out where
What's yellow snow?
you have to go to the bathroom and urinate.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So say the Shulchan Aruch. Okay, the snow or barad, okay, or ice, you can't break it with your hand or a fork or anything else. If you want the water, if you want the water and you're breaking it to get the water out of it, so you can't do it on Shabbat. Why? It's true, snow or ice is just frozen water, but it looks like as if you're creating something new. So it's assuming the Rabbanan. That's only if I want the water. Okay, so if I want the water, don't do it on Shabbat. According to Shulchan Aruch, he's machmir even if I break it into a cup of water. So I have a cup of water and I break the ice into it, even then you can't do it. The Mishnah Berurah here is more makel because it says it disappears, it's battle, it's nullified in it. That's fine. But, and that's also very important, if I'm not doing it by hand, can I take an ice cube and put it inside a cup of water on Shabbat? And we all do it in the summer, right? That in my domain we do, right? So, so how do you do it? You are now creating water. The answer is the problem with taking ice and breaking it, it's not because creating the water, because ice is water. It's because I'm doing an action that looks like I'm creating water. But when I'm just taking the ice and putting it inside the cup, I'm not doing an action which looks like creating water. Now, if you look at it, you can't really see me creating any water from it. Okay, so that's why you can do it. So you can take an ice block, put it inside a cup of water on Shabbat. Although it dissolves, it's not sochet. Okay, the problem is only when I do it by hand. In order to take the water, that I'm crushing it by hand. That looks like creating water on Shabbat. Although it's my
How
domain.
about if you have an ice maker in your refrigerator that crushes ice?
Can't use that on Shabbat.
How do you use in Shabbat the crushed ice? You can't use the
You can't
electric.
crush-
Yeah,
I'm asking.
you don't crush the ice on Shabbat.
I don't-
In any case, you can't crush the ice on Shabbat because it's electric.
Oh,
What?
Get a little
Yeah.
man
well,
with
forget it in
a-
the refrigerator.
Okay.
Have a lever.
Okay, yeah. So for that, we'll let's say I have a big chunk of ice and I'll take a hammer to break some of it off. The problem is when I'm breaking it to small pieces, and then that's ready to get the water out. If I just want to have a big chunk of ice, let's say I have those ice cube makers and I added too much water and all the ice cubes are now connected. I can break some of it off and put it in my cup, although there'll obviously be a tiny bit of water which will be created from it because the intent.
But that wasn't the intention.
That's not the intention, and the whole problem is because it looks like I'm creating water, but here I'm not creating any water. And I think we have time for two more halachot. We mentioned here, since we mentioned ice, can you walk on snow on Shabbat? Yeah. Why do you care? There's no snow in my domain. So what do you care? Okay. So the Shulchan Aruch says you can walk on ice on Shabbat, although it might crush the snow and you might creating water here. And there's two reasons for it. First, people who live in cold places, now comes the time of all the New Yorkers, right? So you can't tell people to stay at home on Shabbat, and the whole problem is rabbinical. So Chazal said that it's fine. And also there's more logic into it. We said the whole problem of crushing ice on Shabbat is it looks like I'm doing something which looks like sochet, looks like creating water. But then doesn't walking on the ice doesn't even look like creating water. It looks like just someone walking on the snow on Shabbat. That's it. So that's why it's permitted. Okay, let's. Okay, we will learn one more halacha. Although it's not so much connected to sochet, it's brought in the same siman of sochet, and that halacha is quite common. It's quite common. Yeah, well, we have 2 minutes. I'll read it inside. You can add the spices to the food you have. You don't need to worry about, you don't need to be concerned because you're of painting the food, coloring the food. There's no such thing of tzvi'ah, painting in food. Painting is when you're creating something new here. Okay, I'm creating a painting. I'm creating a white wall. If I'm a child, so I'm creating a decorated wall, right, with other decoration. But with food, it doesn't become a different kind of food because I now colored it or added food coloring into it. So that says the Shulchan Aruch. There's no problem of painting on Shabbat with food. We meet it, for example, and here the Mishnah Berurah brings an idea like that. Let's say you like the white grape juice on Shabbat, the white grape juice, but you also like to have a bit of wine, red wine inside it. What do you put first? Do you add first the white grape juice? Can you add first the white grape juice and then only then put the red wine? Can you do it? Or you always have to add first or put first the red wine. And then when you pour the white grape juice inside, so it doesn't seem like that you're painting it. You're just diluting the red wine. Hey, can I paint red grape juice with, or white grape juice with red wine on Shabbat? That's a common question. It's a very common question. And says the Mishnah, Brura, yes, you can do it on Shabbat. You can do it on Shabbat. He does bring an opinion that you shouldn't do it on Shabbat, but from what I saw, the common minhag is that you can do it on Shabbat. We find also very much by tea, okay? A tea essence. Can I take water, clear water, and add tea essence into it? I'm painting the water. Okay, so there are poskim who say that first you should put the essence inside and then put the water, but there are quite a few poskim who are mekel. Okay, the same if you make some juice. Okay, what do you have to put it first? Many poskim are mekel. Someone who wants to be machmir should first put the essence and then add the water into it, and we'll end here because of marriage.